What's up, guys? Straight from the Chest Podcast. My name is Justin Groth, and I'm your host. Guys, as always, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for giving me your viewing time and your listening ear. It really, really means a lot to me. So as promised in the last two podcasts, we're continuing with the segment that we've called We're Not Friends. And guys, just to kind of give you a context behind this, these are things that irritate me, that really irritate me from a visceral standpoint. They're not pet peeves, they just are things that A, I don't understand why you do, and B, why can't you be regular? So, we're not friends if you don't know how to talk to people right. And what I mean by that is, let's say for instance, you're at a restaurant and someone is serving you, waiting on your table, and you don't say thank you or please for anything that you order, whether it be you're receiving water from them or they're giving you your dish. I can't understand for the life of me why some people don't even acknowledge the waitress or waiter coming to the table when they're giving them something. It's like you think that you're above the service industry. Do you think that that person doesn't have anything else going on in their life, any other abilities or talents, or do you think that that person is just having the greatest day and doesn't matter how you treat them, that they're not going to be affected by it at all, like they're not human, like they're robots or something? Do you think that your expressions or lack thereof, your expressions to the person serving you is going to not affect them? You're wrong. It most definitely does, and it most definitely registers and records with people when they don't hear simple pleases and thank yous. And it just makes you look like an ass. So, we're not friends if you don't know how to treat people, whether it's the bank teller, whether it's the person that's waiting on you and serving you food or drinks. If you don't know how to acknowledge and talk in a proper tone of voice with an adequate decibel level to somebody in a nice tone and mannerism and give them a nice expression, albeit even a neutral expression, but you giving them acknowledgement and saying please and thank you and letting them know that you are happy with what's going on with their service, etc. And look, you don't even have to give them a compliment, but at least acknowledge them. At least acknowledge them. They're not beneath you. You're not above them. Relax. Show some humanity towards the person that's waiting on you or taking your deposit at the bank or whatever. Please. It's ridiculous. You're an adult. Act like one. Anyways, moving on. The other day on my walk, which is where I get a lot of my ideas, and not ideas rather, but brainstorm, and I there's a lot of things that come to my mind as I'm walking, and maybe that's with you too. And the other day I'm walking and I start thinking about how, or reflecting on my past experiences and the things I've been into and the things that I've not so much been into. And, you know, I hear a lot of people ask me, and I get this question a lot, how do I find my purpose? Because I talk a lot about that, guys, obviously. And when they ask me that, they think like it's almost like they're asking me from a state of confusion or drought or doubt, and they often just don't know what their position in life should be or is, and it's not like what it should be, but what it's supposed to be, what they're meant to do here. And I understand this all too well. I'm right there with you. And one thing that's helped me to understand kind of where I am, and I still really, to be honest with you, I don't ultimately know the exact encasement of what God's going to use me for, and I don't know what he's going to use you for. But I do know that in and throughout my life, there's been specific passions that I've had towards specific things that keep me enthralled for a moment's time. And when I say a moment's time, I mean that could be a season of 10 months, or that could be a season of a few years. That could be a season of 3 months. But albeit there's a time frame associated with a passion that I'm into. And you know what's funny? Is when you look back on your life, and I bet you if you do this right now, you reflect back on your life, and you reflect on the things that you were very, very passionate about. I'm not talking about you were in a season of, you wanted to, I don't know, be the, I drew a blank right now. I'm talking about specific seasons, rather. I'm talking about some seasons that you are just enthralled with, not infatuated with, because there's a difference, right? There's a close difference with enthrallment and infatuation. Infatuation can look like and design itself to look like something that you're passionate about, but it's really just something that you lust over. And when I say lust, I don't mean talking about a girl. I'm talking about you can lust over a potential materialistic thing, a potential status. You can lust over those things to where it becomes all inclusive of whatever that is and how to get there. I got to get there. And to be honest with you, that's how a lot of people lose their path, because they look at something that they're lusting over and they're confusing it with enthrallment and passion when it's just merely a weak infatuation. And the infatuation can lead to your death. And the death is what your destiny should have been. Do you follow me? The infatuation can lead to your death, and the death is what your destiny wasn't. The destiny is associated and designed around what you're passionate about. So if you reflect back on your life and you realize all the things you identify and take kind of an inventory over all the things that you've been innately passionate about, bet you they all kind of have the same circle of what's the word? They all have the kind of the same interests. They all are designed around the same encompassing aspects, albeit some are left field some are left field and some are right field, but they all kind of center around the same constructs. They all center on the same constructs. And you may not understand why you like baseball for a period of time. And then you don't understand why you like selling something at a certain period of time in your life, but you're so passionate about those elements. But in time, you end up realizing why you had to go through this season of loving baseball, loving it, studying it so passionately. And then you come into a season of, well, I want to make clothes. I want to design jeans and shirts and all the likes. I want to be in the fashion industry. But then it's like, then you go further in your life and sports come back. And then maybe now you're developing sports clothes, or you're developing, you're manufacturing jerseys for baseball or basketball. And it's like, it's weird how those things kind of encase around the same fundamental principles that are your purpose. And you're not going to figure it out right now. You're not going to figure out when you love baseball that this is supposed to be your purpose. You might confuse it for your purpose, but it's just a step towards your purpose, because see, the passion is always going to precede the purpose. Remember that. Your passions will always precede your purpose. And so if I look at my own life, I know that there's been something predicating around people. And it hasn't been masses of people. It's always been individual, one-on-ones with people. I've always been able to be, and this is not me tooting a horn, but I've always been able to be good if not great, at being one-on-one with somebody and actively prying something from them, but persuading them in the process to do this, that, or the other that I feel is healthy for them. And it all started in junior high when people would ask me for advices. I don't understand why you would come to me and ask me for advice. But for some reason, they had a draw to me. There was something about me that God gave me that allowed them to feel comfortable with me. And they wanted to express whatever it was and get my take on it. Guys, this is stemmed from ever since I can remember in middle school all the way to now. It hasn't left me. And everything that I've done in my life has always been centered around people. And it's always been encompassing around the bettering of others. But see, not like, I don't register me wanting to make others better with the whole foo-foo nature of motivation and positivity and that fluff, because I don't really believe in that. But what I believe is taking somebody individually and honing in on what their flaws or their negatives are and trying to make those better and persuading them to go in this certain direction that they're probably not admittedly following because they have these elements that are going against them. And that's my job. Not a job, but I feel it's my purpose or my duty to want to come in and intervene and guide them with areas of their life that I feel should be so fundamentally sound already. But see, that wasn't something that I developed. Sometimes, most of the time, our talents are not something that can be taught. We're so innately good at something because of what God has given us that there's no amount of school, or if you went to school for that, you would just excel over your class because, see, it's already ingrained in your DNA. And once you identify with that, once you come into contact with that, and you hone in on just that, regardless of what it produces monetarily, you are unstoppable. Unstoppable. And you're a force to be reckoned with in and around that community of people that do the same thing. Because sometimes people don't come into their purpose by way of honing in on their talents. They come into what they think their purpose is by developing a skill set within that particular arena. But when you hone in on what you're great at, you are a bullet coming out of a gun, man. And you have a force to be reckoned with people that are in your arena. Because, see, it's innately given to you. It wasn't something that was taught. You don't have to remember it. It's not you going back to the drawing board and saying, well, what did I learn in such and such class in such and such year? No, it's already filed in your brain because it has been ever since you were born, because it's a part of your identity and it's your gift that God gave you. And so when we recognize this gift, when we recognize this identity that is who we are, and we start sharpening those tools, once you start sharpening and you go to that grinder and you start sharpening that sword bit by bit by bit by bit, you become a slayer in your space. And I don't mean a slayer by way of you knocking people down in the process. I mean a person of recognizing their true potential and being able to just thrust through their crowd, their culture, their space with impetus, with force. See, your entire life has led up into this point. And it's all the small passions that you've had throughout your life that have led you in to this big breakthrough, this big growth period in your life. And all these passions were preceding your purpose. And see, God's so clever. He knows how to keep your attention. He knows how to keep you going throughout your life until you reach that big breakthrough in your life, that big purpose that you're supposed to be. He knows how to do that, and he does it by all these little small passions that additionally add to the equation and link together as one unit chained to your purpose, to your ultimate purpose of what you're on this earth called to do. You understand that God doesn't. He knows you. If you figured this out in the beginning, if you figured out at 9 years old, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to do? I don't know what I'm here to do. If you thought that way in the beginning of your life, it would be a very tumultuous battle throughout your life until you reach your destiny, let's say at 27, 28. I'm just putting an arbitrary number out there. Some people reach it much earlier. Some kids are reaching their purpose when they're 13, 14. That's all their plan. They have a different plan than you if you're not there yet, right? So what I'm trying to say is God will put these different seasons of purpose, seasons of passion in your life to keep your attention. Because if it were you deciding at 13, 12, 11, whatever, what am I going to do with my life? I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. It would be a tumultuous road ahead, man. And you would, every single day, you'd be just crying out, what do I do? I don't know, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Blah, blah, blah. So he clouds your vision with these passions that are all additionalizing up into the massive purpose that he has in store for you. And he keeps your attention through seasons because he's very clever. And he gets your attention by invoking your stream of passion in these different seasons of your life until you're ready for the big breakthrough. The passions, guys, are always going to precede your purpose. So don't give discount or discredit to these small seasons of passion that you're in, because I guarantee you, you're going to find out one day why they all link together and why you had to have that passion over here, even though it was different than what you're doing right now, because it was building you. It was a building block for the skyscraper that you were supposed to be.